HCTV Sports is supported by the Hastings Public House. Memories made local.
First goal of the year goes for the Raiders.
Oh, beautiful shot there. Nicely done. Gets the pin. Oh, was that beautiful?
Onside kick, and it's recovered by Hastings.
And he's rung up for strike 3.
Double alley. Touchdown Raiders.
Hello everyone and welcome to Hastings High School as we get set for a matchup here between the Hastings Raiders and the Tartan Titans here on HCTV Sports. I'm your announcer Owen Ely here with my broadcast partner for the night, Colby Zach. Colby, how's it going, buddy?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic. There's no place I would rather be than here enjoying some Friday night basketball.
Oh yeah, big thing for the Raiders right now. It is their first conference game, which I mean, it can go up and down for teams before conference play, but as soon as you hit your conference play, that's where you need to lock in, and that's where the real season starts.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of a weird schedule. We've seen the Raiders play other teams that have played plenty of conference games, and they're getting their first conference game here in 2023. So now the real season starts.
Oh yeah, and then Tartan has actually played one non-conference game, and it was against North St. Paul, which they fell to them. So Tartan's 0-1, North St. Paul is 1-0, but other than that, no Metro East Conference teams have played a conference game. So this will be the Raiders' first. They'll actually be Tartan's second.
It should be interesting because back on, yesterday, they beat Apple Valley 66-10. I don't know about you, but I can't say that I've ever seen a defense in my years doing this hold somebody to 10 points. So, they are hot here in 2023.
On top of scoring 66. I don't know, in all my years of going to Hastings and going through, Apple Valley's always been kind of a rival with the Raiders, and we've fallen short. They've beaten us by similar stat lines like that, but it's pretty rare to see a Raider team beat an Apple Valley team on a score like that.
And there's a look at the Metro East Conference standings. Why don't you walk me through that one?
So we've got, once again, North St. Paul, who played their only conference game, and that was against Tartan, so they beat them, so they're at the top. 1-0, Tartan 0-1, and the Raiders are coming in playing their first game against that 0-1 conference Tartan team, and a big implication here is that Hastings' next game is actually against North St. Paul. So if the Raiders go on to win here and they beat North St. Paul, they will sit on top of the conference with a 2-0 conference record.
Let's play basketball.
Well, both teams now taking the court here. Should be a fun one. It is also Parents' Night. We got the Hastings band in the stands as well. Hopefully they won't be on the court here tonight, and we are underway as the Raiders take possession early on. Keegan McVicker, the ball handler, certainly a player to watch for this Raiders basketball squad.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of the offense runs around her, and especially in one of these man-to-man defenses that Tartan's playing, she's looking to exploit it, just like she did there. Drove in for the layup, beat her woman.
And McVickers gets the scoring started here for Hastings. Early lead against the visiting Tartan Titans. Uncontested three-point shot. The defensive rebound taken there by Emma Baker. McVicker halting at the logo. Drives in, a bounce pass on the elbow, now at the wing, passing in.
Good pass down low.
The assist there from McVickers. Emma Baker with the 2 points.
It's up to Baker. Another player, too, to watch out for is Haley Strain. McVicker, Baker, and Strain both averaging a little over 10 points for the Raiders.
And there's the first points of the game for Tartan. Tyja Stroman, the senior. Coast to coast, passing it out.
McVicker wasting no time on the rebound.
K-Flish sends it to Strain at the elbow, looking to pass. Some motion there, and just through the fingertips of Emma Baker out of bounds.
Yeah, looking for a lot of ball movement early. McVicker, right away, she drove and scored, but ever since then, they've been trying to move it around, look for those gaps, and maybe beat a woman to the basket and score.
Got a partial full court press there, broken by the Titans. Swings it out back to center court. We'll have the guard there, Hernandez, trying to direct traffic, now driving in on a quasi-screen off of the back iron. Another defensive rebound there for Emma Baker as this Raiders offense will reset.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for the Raiders, especially in this man-to-man defense, is getting rebounds and not allowing them for second chance boards and second chance points. Good job there on the defensive rebound.
Now there from downtown. Handful of passes here along the perimeter. Now we got a player in the restricted arc. Nice little short pass and the 2 points there for Haley Strain.
Good pass. Yeah, as soon as you drive, you look to dish, look for cutters, and that's exactly what they did there. Haley Strain cut down into the lane and gets the easy bucket.
Very unselfish play here from Hastings early on, and we'll have Hernandez just beating her woman right there on the layup.
Tartan's also extending their full court press all the way up, but it looks like it's more of a soft press, so they're not necessarily pressuring as much as other teams would, but it's still kind of causing the Raiders problems and throwing them around. So as one goes underneath.
Just a wide open shot there.
Yeah, Lindsay Wagner with the finish. That's her first 2 points of the game. Raiders up 8-4.
Now, it's always interesting to see people's philosophies on the full court press. I wish we had Reagan Hooverman here to explain to us the full court press, because he is one of the top advocates here at HCTV Sports with the full court press. Some teams, they can beat it, some teams they can't, and you can go on these crazy runs when you're implementing it, and that'll be a turnover there by Tartan.
It either works really well or it doesn't. So we had, back when I was playing traveling basketball, we nicknamed our full court press break layup drill. So we would try to get it up as fast as we could and make room for layups. But that could go both ways, because either you're going and you're getting easy shots, or they're all over you and you're turning the ball over. So it all depends on how good your press break is, how fast your team is, and whether you can break it or not.
And there was a shot of the varsity head coach, Trent Hansen, who's also the athletic director. 2 point response there from Hastings, now in double digits.
Yeah, Haley Strain gets the bucket. She's sitting around 6'2". She looks a little taller than most of the other Tartan defenders. See if she can pick up a few mismatches and get a few buckets underneath, as she has been.
Seems like this offense for Tartan is going through the guard, Mia Hernandez. There's the aforementioned Hernandez with the pause at the top of the arc, driving in alongside the lane, and she'll put up another 2 points.
That's a tough finish. Yeah, the Raiders, they did a pretty good job. They're going to need to come over, switch, and then help over on Hernandez, because she's been proven she can drive and she can finish those tough ones.
Well, and there the soft full court press there works to great effect for the Titans. There's a look at the 2 point layup from Hernandez. We got the turnover there in front of the bench by Wagner.
That's a tough shot. That was pretty good defense, but just better offense on that one.
Murray with an air ball.
Murray, she's had a few step-back looks, so it seems to me that she has the confidence to shoot those, and if she does, that means she'll eventually make some of those. So Raiders should look for that, look for shooter on the court. Maybe they're looking for a Hernandez drive and kick back out to her to get some open looks, but looks like she's just trying to create them herself right now.
Well, you know what they say about shooters, don't you?
What?
Shooters got to shoot.
Shooters got to shoot. Yeah, that's right. Even when they're in a slump.
That's the old Dion Waiters trick. You'd rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 9. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, but that's
at least you know you didn't lose your confidence.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's a look at the replay. McVicker sending it to Monica Cheney along the baseline, and that's going to be the first foul of the game. A very clean game thus far.
Yeah, almost 13 minutes left in the half, and that was the first foul.
Well, Tartan and Hernandez looking to pull within one, and a 3-point make for Hernandez. She is just the entire offense here for Tartan, keeping them in the game.
Yeah, she is feeling it. That looks like that's why she's dangerous. She can go drive and make those tough finishes, but as soon as you give her some room and make her drive or let her drive, she's going to shoot it. So she showed us there.
A little bit of a runner there from McVicker, and we'll get a timeout called by Tartan.
Nice drive, good floater. It looks like it's shaping up to be a little McVicker versus Hernandez. We'll see if they can keep going score for score as it is. 12-9, 3-point game.
Yeah, heavy guard game, and you know, like you mentioned, the size of Haley Strain, you know, that could be a factor as this game goes on, because it doesn't seem like Tartan has anybody with that size or, you know, that kind of weight to throw around.
Right, and it's looking like Tartan's playing the way that they want to, and they're getting a lot of guard game, but Hastings is trying the same things, but it looks like if they do exploit that Haley Strain matchup, they'll be able to score a lot easier, and maybe if it means less shots for McVicker, that's what it means, but might be what the team needs to do.
Well, Apple Valley fans are punching a wall right now because they've just seen this Tartan team put up 9 points with 13 minutes to go in the first half. So, I don't know. It is possible they could hold them under 10, but I don't know if I'd bet on that.
They could, yeah. Might need a few good defenders down low, maybe a little taller, but yeah, it's possible.
I don't even think I could hold a team to 10 points in 2K on the easiest setting. I mean, that's...
Oh, no. Yeah, 'cause you always get those lucky shots. But, I mean, if you're not letting them get shots and stealing it before that, which is... Oh, it wasn't at the game, but I assume they must have. Pass from McVicker. A little too hard. Down low. Raiders will turn it over.
And that's tough, too, because you want to be an unselfish player, but sometimes just taking the shot is the higher percentage, and I think that was probably the case right there.
Right, exactly. And thing too with the confidence is maybe you're not feeling yourself, so you look to pass and you force a pass like that, but sometimes it's better for your teammates even, more unselfish to take the shot.
So we had a little bit of a scrum there. Stroman was the one that fished it out for Tartan, and they'll reset this offense. Stroman with the little screen and a turnover.
Steal from Emma Baker. She had a great, just went over the top, knew it was slower, knew the Tartan player wasn't going to come go get the ball, so she said, I'll take that, and then we're going down the other way.
We had a streaking player there into the short corner. Raiders neglecting to pass to Rachel Notch. They'll pump up
There's
the shot.
Some down low action.
That takes a friendly bounce for Kate Reuter, her first points of the game.
And I think that's what the Raiders need to do, is just keep isolating those matchups down low and get the easier shots, because without forcing an extra pass or looking for floaters or anything, like that's a layup. If you can finish it, that's 2 easy points.
And there was Vienna Murray just kind of parting the Red Sea right there, went through the entire Raiders defense.
Which Murray, it looks like that was her first time going inside the three-point arc and then made it work. So maybe she should switch up her approach a little bit and keep driving.
But a tie-up called here in the restricted arc, and another potential hot finish there from McVicker, but she tries to pass it to a teammate, and again, probably just the higher percentage play there to pump the layup.
Right, and then that's something that the Raiders can't do. It's their first foul of the game, but when you get a little greedy and you look to steal it in the backcourt or like sneak up behind someone, usually it doesn't go in their favor. Usually the refs will call a reach or some other kind of foul, but sometimes it's just instinct to go get it when you would rather not run back on defense.
So here's Hernandez from just inside the logo. 3-point shot from her would tie this one up at 14 apiece. We got Murray trying to thread the needle, turns it over, 15-15. Now there's Mara Jackson, the ball handler here for Hastings. Swings it to Sophie Swanson, the first time she's checked into the game tonight. Bounce pass.
Down low again. Right there, one dribble, turnaround, easy two-pointer. Another one for Kate Reuter. They've just got to keep feeding her down low, getting those easy buckets.
4-0 run there for Reuter. Now Hernandez, a jumper from the free throw line, and that's going to put this one back to within one possession.
Yeah, and it's not like it was bad defense either. She just was able to pull up and knock down the mid-range shot and get it back within three. It was great offensive play.
And there's another look at it.
See her here. See, the thing with it, she can use both her right and her left hand. It looks like she shoots with her right, but she looks like she is able to dribble with her left hand there. She's able to blow past and get an easy pull-up jumper.
Yeah, great defense, great offense, but great offense generally beats great defense. A missed shot there from Reuter, trying to make it 6 in a row. Driving in just underneath the basket. That one rims out. The offensive rebound. Back for Notch, and she'll miss.
Just right around the front of the rim. But the one thing I did like with the Raiders that possession is they kept hitting the offensive boards and kept giving themselves shots. You keep getting those rebounds and score like that, shots will fall.
Underhanded layup there for Mia Hernandez.
Hernandez, I'm not sure how many points she has, but it looks like she has every single one of them.
Yeah, she's certainly having herself a game. The Raiders are going to have to adjust at some point and make some other player for the Titans beat them instead of Hernandez.
Yeah, good little jump stop, and then she goes up, finishes right-handed scoop, and then gets it in, which she has been just every part of the floor. It seems like she's been everywhere, and it seems like she's so versatile she can do all of that with ease.
Off the inbound, it's recovered by Hastings. Open three-point shot just a little bit to the right. Another offensive rebound for Hastings. They've had plenty of success with the rebounds on both sides of the court here tonight. Cheney looking to drive in at the elbow, pivots around, a bounce pass stolen away there by number 23, Stroman. Now there's Cadence Vu, the first time that she's been in the game for Tartan. Hands it off to Stroman. Stroman drives and turns that one out of bounds.
What a good play down there, just to know that they're driving and know they're not stopping. Plant your feet, take the charge, get the ball back.
And there's, I believe that's assistant coach head coach Xavier Munoz.
Yeah, talking to the ref, probably looking to see whether she was planted or not, thinking maybe she shifted her feet to allow for a blocking foul. But regardless of whether her feet were planted, if you lower that shoulder and go into somebody with force, it will be a charge and it will be called.
And especially when you're the bigger player, I mean, that's just the unfortunate reality of some of these calls, blocking versus charging. I mean,
and honestly, if
tie goes to the smaller player, it seems.
But if you're smaller and you're willing to set your feet and get down there and take one of those blows from a bigger player, you got to give it to him sometimes.
Well, we're still knotted up here at 16-15.
Yeah, from what seemed like it's more of a game of runs. Raiders got up early, and now Tartan has taken over, and the Raiders are looking a little surprised just because walking out from that big Apple Valley blowout, and now they can't get as much created on offense. That and that they've already allowed 5 more points than they did the entire last game, which isn't saying a ton, but...
Open three-point shot, and that one invigorates the bench. Sophia Swanson
knocks it down, quick catch and shoot. Wasn't looking anywhere else except the basket. Knew it was going in as soon as she let it go.
Well, you leave players wide open, and that's liable to happen. Air ball from the short corner. Ball's taken there by Mara Jackson. A long pass down the court, and that one could not be fielded cleanly there by Lindsay Wagner.
Right, just through her legs. And that's one thing, too, it looks like the last few possessions the Raiders have been struggling at is just turnovers. And we mentioned how well they've been offensive rebounding, but you can't really offensive rebound if you turn it over before you even shoot.
Well, it looks like, we'll take a look there at Trent Hansen. Looks like the board is a little off there, 19-15. Is the actual score. We apologize. We'll get that fixed at some point as Hernandez sinks they're going to call that a 2-point shot. I don't know. That was borderline 3.
Yeah, I mean, she's done it all. Close layups, good finishes, 3-point shots, and now deep 2.
And we have an update from girls hockey. They're up 1-0, 12 minutes to go in the first on the road against Two Rivers.
See if we can get 2 Raider girls dubs tonight. Looks like that foul was on Lindsay Wagner. It's her first. It's only the team's second. Both teams have been playing extremely cleanly. 2 fouls each, not even close to the bonus.
And that's generally been the case for Hastings throughout the year, but not exactly this clean. I mean, this is crazy pace.
Speaking of clean, yeah, perfect block right. Traveled when she's on the ground, trying to flip it over into the fast break. But, I mean, you don't mind travels like that because you make the play like that and you're just trying to get it to a teammate, push it up, and she just rolled a little too much. It happens.
How about the girls hockey team being up right now? There's nothing better, if you're a fan of the Raiders, than getting a clean sweep, and there's nothing worse, as I'm sure you can attest to, and I certainly can attest to, than losing a road game.
Oh, yeah. It's the entire ride back is just not fun. And the opposite is when you win a road game and everybody's getting really excited in the bus, and then you'll see notifications like, oh, the boys hockey team won too, the girls hockey team won too. It's just no better feeling when you come together as a town and the Raiders and everybody's winning, everybody's having fun. So hopefully both the Raiders can pull one out tonight and they can experience that.
Well, it looks like we'll get a handful of subs here for Tartan. That's Vienna Murray back in the game. Vu barely gets that inbound in for Hernandez. Tried to put the shakes.
Good stop by McVicker. She's been all over the court. She just had that block before, a near deflection right before then, and then made her stop on defense right there. Great D by the Raiders.
Very tight defense, but they are getting out-rebounded here on this possession. That's 2 in a row, but Swanson's going to end that, settling down the ball with that defensive rebound. Open, sends it up, and they're going to call a whistle. That's going to be a turnover.
Little push off there, down low by Haley Strain. Looks like she was fighting for it, and then she must have extended a little too much. Here it is, boxing out. Yep, they got her for the right arm, extending, pushing her a little bit out of the lane. So maybe she didn't have that. It looked like she still could have jumped up and got it. She didn't need that excessive force, but sometimes it's just natural to do things like that and turns it over.
Yeah, I don't think it had a huge impact on the play, but it's like pass interference in the NFL. I mean, anytime you have your hands in a certain spot, I mean, you're just kind of tempting them to make a call.
Automatic call, yeah.
Well, still just a 2-point game. That one's going to bounce off the feet of a couple of players, and we'll see if the Raiders can add some points to the board here. South of 6 minutes to go.
Oh,
McVicker, heavy contact.
Looks like they got it for the blocking foul down low. Either she wasn't set or she was in the restricted area. I'm not sure which one exactly, but she will get the blocking foul and send her to the line.
Well, we'll see exactly what happened here.
She was out, so it looked like she just stepped in and she wasn't set and her chest wasn't square to the player, so kind of put her shoulder into it, and that's why they called the block foul. But it wasn't a shooting foul, so they're going to take it down low.
Quick inbound and a whistle before that shot could go up. And it looks like they're going to call a shooting foul there on Tartan, so Emma Baker is going to head to the line.
Yeah, great inbounds play by the Raiders. I'm not sure how much of a play it really was, but they just saw her wide open sitting there, got her the ball fast as they need to, and then she layup just rims out for the N1, so just at the line.
Well, we'll see how well the Raiders have been practicing free throws, because those are just free points, and they're going to leave 2 on the board right there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because there hasn't been any this game. Were those the first free throws?
I think you're onto something there.
It might have been, because I mean, a game where they don't foul too much, and when they foul, it's in their full court press. So Raiders typically wouldn't be at the line. Maybe it was just the fact that there's been none and there's no really flow and stoppage of the game. It feels weird to shoot those 2. So
a very quick game as well when there's no stoppages. I mean, we might be out of here by 8.
Oh yeah.
Boy, this is going. Well, that's going to be a turnover here on Hastings. We're just locked up here now in a defensive affair in the last handful of minutes.
Right, and the Raiders have managed to stay just above Tartan. They've tied it before, and usually the Raiders will score a little bit, and Tartan will climb its way back a little bit, but it's just been inch by inch, and that's what I think it's going to come down to at the end of this game.
And that's why I was so surprised that they had beat Apple Valley so badly, because they're always in such close games with such big swings, comebacks. You know, they're the cardiac kids as they'll force a turnover right there, and they don't get blown out too often, and they don't blow teams out too often. They're always in pretty competitive games.
Right. Yeah, it sounds a lot like the Minnesota Vikings, who broke the record for the most one-score wins or in the NFL this year, as I'm sure you and other Minnesota fans have heard.
Well, 3 straight air balls between these two squads on the last 2 possessions. The Raiders trying to hold strong here on defense. A swipe taken by Wagner.
But yeah, they're flying all over the place on defense. It looks like they like to have a few women down low, sagging off those they know that can't shoot, like the scouting report. We have Haley Strain going down low, sagging a little off her woman. That's a lot of scouting report thing. We know that this person necessarily can't shoot as well from outside, so we're going to put an extra defender and have them help down low.
Hernandez looking to drive in, halts at the baseline, sends the pass nearly stolen away by Wagner. Now a pass to the wing. It's going to be Murray taking it past the free throw line.
And it's times like this where you kind of wish you had the shot clock this year. Teams not necessarily being able to score, hit the rim, they're passing it around, and it looks like your defense is playing well because they're out there for over a minute, but then all of a sudden they're able to get a shot because they catch you not as locked into the game as you would like to.
A pass down low, and that just couldn't be held in. That's the second or third time that's happened to Hastings.
Yeah, Natalie Kaplis looked like she was open down low, pass a little just past her fingertips, and that one bounces out of bounds. Another turnover for the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I am so excited for a shot clock to finally be put at the high school level.
Yes, no, it's been due for many, many years, ever since the boys state championship a few years, where it was, I believe, Hopkins and Woodbury, or Lakeville North and Woodbury, they held it the entire overtime, which is about 4 minutes, and then they went for a shot. They held it 4 minutes because they didn't need to press them, they didn't need to go shoot it, so they held it for the last shot the entire overtime. And ever since I saw that, I'm not sure I was even in high school yet, I said, we need something like this.
Technically legal, but kind of against the spirit of the game. So, yeah, very happy. A nice, crisp 2-point put up there by Keegan McVicker.
There's McVicker. Another good way to break a scoring drought for the Raiders. Get it into one of your best players' hands and see what she can do with it. And it looked like they left her an open lane to drive, but not all the way. So great pull up here.
Looking like Kevin Durant out there.
Just knew when to go. Perfect swish, no doubt about it. So see if the Raiders defense can continue what they're doing and continue to turn defense into offense. And we would like to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Hastings Public House. For Memories Made Local, they've been supporting us and sponsoring this game tonight. We'd like to thank them for making this broadcast possible.
Yeah, very cool to have sponsors. Didn't have them for a little bit, and yeah, they definitely make it possible. Well, there's a look at the Hastings band.
Yeah, they're waving up, getting everybody excited. That's definitely one of the best parts. Even when your team isn't going great, you always have the band giving it their all and giving those fight songs.
There's that fancy new scoreboard right there.
Oh yeah, and you've got pictures of all the seniors. It looks like Natalie Kaplis is the only one for the Lady Raiders. So
yeah, they've had some turnover the last couple of years with some of their better seniors leaving, but this is a team that is going to be able to build on what they do this year, and certainly with the conference wide open, it's possible they do something significant this year. But
oh yeah,
roster-wise, they're constructed for the long haul.
The long haul. Little rebuild. Never hurt anybody.
Got to trust the process. Well, off of the timeout, here's the Raiders pumping up a shot.
2, it looks like. Yep.
Nothing but net there for Cheney.
But hey, you may as well add on the run when you can. 2, 3, 1. Raiders lead by 6 now.
Well, there's McVicker defending on Vu.
Which McVicker's doing a great job. Even though she seems to be a lot bigger, she's moving really well with how fast the dribbles are going, and she's shuffling and giving her space when she needs to. Just great defense. Helping over right there.
And we're going to get a tie-up.
Yep.
They're going to give it to Hastings. But yeah, the best offensive player on the team, but, probably the best defensive player as well.
Yeah, you call her jack of all trades. She's able to shoot threes, get in the lane, finish, and then help her team out however she needs to on defense. Get some blocks, deflections, dive on the floor if she has to, and that's just a sign of sign of a good player, being able to do it all.
Well, it's crazy, too, that she's only a sophomore. I think she's been on varsity at least since she was an 8th grader.
Oh, yeah. Now it seems like with everybody gone, she's able to finally step in and come to form and really accentuate her offense.
Well, there was Notch there just kind of working her way through 3 Titans defenders, but missed the shot. Far out 3-point shot, and wow, that sinks in. Much needed for Tartan. That's Woodson Thigpen.
Yeah, it was interesting because the Raiders laid off for a little bit, and she took a few seconds, hesitated, and then buried the 3 from about 2 feet back.
Well, Tartan did the same thing with Swanson. You gotta, some of these forwards and centers, they can hit 3s as well.
Right, yeah, especially if you leave them more open like that, which I assume was the Raiders' game plan, to kind of sag off and get another defender down low. But as soon as they earn your respect and they hit a deep one like that, you definitely have to come and get up a little bit more.
Vu with the tight pass to Murray, takes it back, 3-point shot. Almost good. 50 seconds to go here before halftime. Raiders looking to extend this lead.
There's a few different philosophies here. One of them is hold the ball and kind of wait one last possession. And another one is score quick, get a stop, and be able to score again. But it looks like the Raiders are taking it a little slower, just letting their offense flow to them.
McVicker drives in, misses the shot, out of bounds, and they're going to say that went out of bounds off of a Raiders player. Here's another look at that 3-point attempt, or make.
Knocks it down, turns around. It's a few feet back, too. It wasn't like that was an easy shot by any means, even if you're open. She hesitated a little bit. Usually players like to flow off of a catch and shoot or a pull up. She waited a little bit, jab stepped, and then buried it. So that was pretty impressive.
Well, this might be the final possession, and they're going to almost force a turnover. They're going to force a jump ball instead.
Looks like it's going back to the Titans. So looks like they'll get one more shot at it, unless Hastings maybe steps in one of those passing lanes and gets a steal and a bucket. But
well, they don't have Hernandez out on the court.
Which is interesting. Maybe, I'm not sure. She was playing a majority of the game before that. Maybe just getting a rest, and then on top of halftime, even bigger rest to come back with full strength at the end of the half. But the Tartan scoring drought was filled by people who weren't her. So, I mean, maybe they're trying to ride it out as long as they can without her.
We'll get the drive in from Murray. 2 defenders there in the short corner, and she's just going to send that one over the top. Inbound, and that is going to do it. So we have reached halftime here from Hastings High School. 23-22 lead for your Hastings Raiders over the Tartan Titans.
Here's a replay of that. Pull up, she goes to the corner. That's a little Kevin Durant-esque too. A little longer in frame, goes, pulls it up in the corner and shoots it. It's an
Absolute thing of beauty. So with that, we'll send it off to halftime. 23-22 Raiders over the Titans here on HCTV Sports. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to HCTV Sports as we get set for the second half between the Hastings Raiders and the Tartan Titans. I'm Owen Ely here with my broadcast partner for the night, Colby Zach, getting ready for the return of some action here.
Yeah, another half of good basketball. It's kind of been a game of runs. The Raiders got up a little bit early, and then Tartan clawed back, and then have been maintaining down a little bit. Hastings get up a little bit more. Tartan climb back a little bit, and here we are.
Yeah, anybody's guess is as good as anybody else's as to how this one's going to turn out here.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, comes down to the Raiders finishing down low. They've been rebounding on offense really well, getting some really good shots, but seen a lot of those shorter ones roll around the rim.
Well, the Raiders starting off the second half with the possession, a three-point attempt there by Lindsey Wagner. We get a foul.
Wow, foul already. I don't remember the first foul being called until like 6 minutes into game time last half.
Yeah, that is just crazy. So Haley Strain will head to the line, looking to increase the buffer here. And while we got a chance, we'd like to thank HCTV for also picking up this game. If you're tuning in from the Oakdale area.
Yeah, which nice for fans of Tartan around that area to be able to tune in and watch them without having to worry about driving through all the snow and still getting to see the game.
Yeah, this definitely comes in clutch, just like that three-point shot.
Exactly. Emma Baker from deep. She got the 1-2 off the catch and shoot and just went up and buried it. Great start for the Raiders to start that.
Well, we're getting some tight defense right there, and it's going to work out in favor of Hastings.
Yeah, McVicker forcing the double dribble right away. I thought it was going to be a 5-second call, but she got separation and then forced the double dribble.
Well, we talked about how far out that three-point shot was for Tartan before the second half. That one maybe even a foot or two farther.
Yeah, we're right around there, and with full confidence. And the Raiders, who haven't been shooting particularly well from three, as I say that.
Yeah, that defender was closing in, a missed three-point shot, but the Raiders muscled the ball back, and there's McVicker driving in, splits two defenders,
Great
underhanded layup.
She noticed as soon as she got the ball, the defender wasn't. There's steal.
And they are just cutthroat here in the second half, really living up to that Raider
good block from the Titans.
iconography.
But like I was saying, McVicker, she saw that her woman wasn't pressed on her. As soon as she got the ball, she noticed her running up and then blew right past it.
And forces the turnover again.
Oh, travel right before it. It's a tough call because this occurred right before there was a double possession, and then they're able to call it right before. But still, great defense. The Raiders coming out. I'm not sure if it's got below the arc for Tartan yet. Raiders just applying that pressure and translating into offense.
I mean, the best teams.
Speaking of pressure.
And that's a turnover, underhanded layup. Wow, they are on fire. The best teams at the high school and college level can handle pressure and full court press, but boy, some teams just cannot handle it, and we're seeing the Titans just fold here.
The Raiders get the ball back. Like before, it seemed like the Raiders in the first half were applying more of a soft pressure, just letting them know that they were on them, but still letting them pass and dribble and everything. But now they're hard on them. They're pressing up right against them, not letting them dribble, not letting them pass, taking away those passing lanes, and that's where we see those easy buckets like the McVicker layup.
And the difference is 7 points. A 7-point run just like that, lickety-split.
Right out of the half. That's how you start a half. That's exactly what you can ask for as a team. You come out of halftime like it's a brand new game, then you come in, you're on a 7-point run. You got to get your team feeling well, and that's how we'll do it.
Only 2 timeouts remaining for Tartan, still 5 for the Raiders. And this is where it gets interesting because we've seen this with both basketball teams, the boys and the girls, as we'll take a look at the student section there. We've seen this the last handful of years. They'll have these brilliant flashes, but consistency,
oh yeah,
like it is for a lot of teams, is an issue. And they are playing tremendous to start this second half, but can they be consistent and hold on to this lead and not make it a buzzer beater?
And it seems like a lot of those inconsistencies comes from just how young of a team this is. Usually with more experienced players, like they see runs like this all the time, they're able to kind of keep on it and keep consistent. But you have younger players who get hot from three or score a little bit. It's harder for them to maintain it because they don't have the experience to go down and play defense and keep the run going.
So we'll get the second foul of the second half called against Tartan. We'll get the inbound from the baseline to Strain. Tried to pump up that shot immediately, and the ref with energy tells us that is going to Tartan.
A little aggressive there. But another great look for the Raiders inside, close to left, and they're still applying that pressure. Tartan steps out again, Raider ball.
Why would you switch it up if it's working? Make them beat you.
Exactly. With a few of those whistles down low at the other end, give your girls some breath, and then put them right back on them.
And the Raiders got exactly who they want out there. They got all of their starters still out there. So, this is the primetime squad right here.
Oh, yeah, and they're going to look to see how long they can keep this run up and probably keep them in as long as they can, as long as they're scoring, as long as they're building on the run. And then if Tartan seems to score a few, then they'll sub some girls out. But right now, they're just riding the wave.
And they either have to get softer hands trying to catch these passes, or they got to stop throwing Brett Favre bullets, because something's getting lost in translation.
Oh yeah,
on these passes.
Hernandez subs back in for Tartan. They're going to see if she'll be able to work around and dribble through this Raider pressure.
Well, she's definitely been a difference maker, certainly to start the game. And there is Hernandez. I believe that's McVicker defending.
Which McVicker getting down in great defensive stance, just great defensive awareness, knowing whether they're driving left to right, looking for those fakes, hesitations, and creating those Raider steals.
And a foul called on the play. It does seem like the adjustment they made, putting McVicker on Hernandez midway through the first half. I mean, she's kind of been nullified ever since. That was kind of the only adjustment they need to make, and that was
really, really changed things. It's like McVicker took it personally that somebody else is scoring a lot of points, and she's like, I want to guard this person. If we're going to be in a battle like this, I want to have more of input on how much she scores. So she's been on her ever since. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, it's always fun when people have individual assignments. It's one thing to have like a base defense and have this idea, but sometimes you just need your star player on a star player.
That's when those rivalries start. You see it like in the NFL all the time with different wide receivers and corners going after each other, just because you see them play after play, the good and the bad and the ugly, and you're within talking distance a lot of the time. So that's where a lot of chirps come flying in.
Yeah, you get that. Justin Jefferson, Jair Alexander grittying 3 minutes into a game.
Yeah, especially when you talk a lot on social media before, and you're able to back that up.
I don't think he was grittying so much when Jefferson went off for 184.
184, yep.
Offensive rebound, but a missed shot there for Hastings.
That's just how it goes in rivalries like that. It's usually the last game that happens. Whoever does well, that's typically what people remember. So it'll be fun to watch. Maybe Vikings will be able to see the Packers get in the playoffs if a few things align. There's McVicker with the three. She's heating up on offense, too.
Nearly a double-digit lead for Hastings. Tartan with only 2 points in this second half. Yeah, I pray to God that the Vikings don't see the Packers again in the postseason, but you never know. Response there, and that just lights up the bench for Tartan. The response from Alyssa Woodson-Thigpen.
Yeah, and I mean that's on the other side of the ball. That's how you break runs. You drive and then look for fouls, and you look for easy lanes like that. You combine both of those. She makes the free throw. It's as good as a three-pointer. Especially momentum too. You get that whistle, you see the ball go in, and you know you have another free throw. Nothing fires up a bench like that.
And she'll miss the and one. Yeah, well, momentum is such a weird thing because some people say it exists, some people say it doesn't.
Oh, just a dime down
Two-point
there
shot
by
there
McVicker.
from Haley Strain. First time she scored in a little bit.
Driving dish from McVicker. As soon as they realize, oh, she's coming down the lane, got to guard her, dump it off right to Strain, and she gets the easy bucket.
Raiders playing solid team basketball here.
A great transition offense, pushing it out, looking for the open woman. They found one right there.
Take a look at the last scoring play here for Hastings.
Little crossover, great bounce pass down low. As soon as Haley Strain's woman steps up on help defense on her, she dumps it off right to her and gets the easy layup.
And that's the split-second difference that you either have or you don't, where we saw her miss a couple of passes in the first half when she should have shot the ball, but that time was the correct time to just dish it off.
Exactly, yeah. It feels like she's really coming into form on defense, sticking with her woman. On offense, she's getting some herself, and now she can accentuate her assist game.
And her rebound
And
game.
rebound, yeah. Might get a triple-double.
Yeah, there we go.
What a play.
Scrum right underneath the basket.
A great save down low. Give your chance team to score there, and then it ends with a foul.
And she might be putting up, Russell Westbrook type numbers.
Just down low, doing it herself. Might get it in blocks even. She's gotten a few blocks already, some steals.
Although, unlike Russell Westbrook's stats, her stats are not meaningless.
True, especially in a game like this, you'll see 10-point game now for the Raiders. They're going to try to ride her run as long as they can and see, because the objective will be to take her out eventually and give her a rest. But for that to happen, it'll need to be a little more of a lead.
And that's where the consistency will come in, holding on to that lead. And you kind of have Tartan right where you want, because they use that timeout off of that 7-0 run. They only have 2 timeouts left, so it's not like they can stop the momentum with a timeout and talk it over too many more times.
Yeah, and the Raiders right now with their biggest lead of the night at 10. So they have Lindsey Wagner down low to extend it to 12. And they only have a few timeouts, so they need to be selective whether they want to stop the run or not, and that could get out of hand quickly.
And if you're the Raiders, well, there's no need to call a timeout. I mean, you're just you're boat racing them here in the second half.
Yes, exactly, and no need to sub really, unless you see your players getting tired. But another transition. The Raiders have been running in transition really well. There's McVicker.
Almost with the assist under the basket. Little wrestle for the ball. Looks like they're going to give that to Tartan.
But yeah, that's one thing too that's been great for the Raiders this half is their transition offense. As you see, she gets it down low, pushes it up, way up, and Lindsey Wagner, that's the one that extended it to 12. But just being able to push it and beat out the Tartan defenders, just an easy way to score a bucket, easy way to just eliminate any chance of them guarding you on defense, essentially.
I mean, they're catching them sleeping. I mean, they're throwing these passes that would be offsides in soccer. That's how wide open they are.
And there's the carry. They're forcing turnover after turnover, and they're able to create shots themselves and then also take away Tartan's shots and then any chance of them getting on the offensive boards. And look at the rebounders down low. Raiders had 4 rebounders to Tartan's 0, and even then we're still able to beat them.
Air ball out of bounds off of the shin of Murray.
Yeah, so this went from a 1-point game at halftime to now the Raiders are leading by 12 with still 12 minutes and 30 seconds. A lot of time for either team, but buckets like that. Yep.
2-pointer for Reuter.
Hey, Reuter, who I believe has 6 now, and all of them come from right inside that paint area. Teammates looking to set her up, and she's also able to go down and finish.
And I think she must be shooting like 80 or 90% on the night. I mean, she's taking these shots, and she's not missing.
Oh, yeah. Raiders will look to maybe set her up, maybe have her be a cutter, or just post up down low. Like when you're hot, you're hot. Let her back down a little bit and turn around for a shot like that, and easy buckets.
Some tight defense there from Baker. Nearly sends that one the other way. That one swiped at by Rachel Notch, and then we have 2 players tied up on the ground.
Still good hustle by both teams. As soon as they get down there, they're both fighting. The Raiders fighting like it's tied or they're down, and then Tartan fighting to get back in the game.
You know, this is a 5-5 team. First conference game they're playing, but they've won 4 of their last 6. A lot of close games, obviously the one exception, the blowout yesterday. But, man, if they play like they've played the last couple of days, there's not too many teams in the state that they wouldn't stand a real good chance of beating.
Right, especially games like this, looking to extend that lead and start their conference schedule off with a bang would be huge for them, especially coming into their first game.
Another offensive rebound puts up the shot, and boy, there's some judo moves going on down there.
A lot of contact going on down low, but the refs decided to no call it because, I mean, hands are flying for both teams.
Well, Tartan just trying to get anything going. They'll get that one, puts him back to within a dozen.
Great move from Murray. She's hit a few pulling up from the baseline. I'm wondering if she'll keep going for that. I know she took a few threes in the first half, too. It didn't quite go away, but they'll look to get someone else who's a hot hand. It was Hernandez last half. Let's see if they'll try to open up anyone else.
And that one intercepted. Almost a football play right there. Raiders get called for a travel.
It looks like she lifted up her pivot foot after she got the ball. Little scrum down low, but yeah, there's Murray again with the pull-up right in the corner. A little step-back action, fade away, swish. Looks like she had it the whole way. So if Tartan wants to get anything going, maybe they'll ride the hot hand and go more for Murray.
That travel reminded me, I think, of the last boys basketball game we did, as we'll get another call.
A little illegal screen down there.
We had a infamous traveling call on, I don't know if you happened to see that game, but there was like a second left in the game. I think they were down by 1 or 2, or it might have even been tied. And they inbound it, intercepted, and the Raiders player puts up the 2-point shot. But upon slow motion review, it was ever so slightly a travel. Would have been one of the greatest finishes I've ever seen to a game.
That's so he made it.
He made it, but it was a travel.
That's even worse than missing it, is because you have that and you see that you make it. You watch it go through. You have all that hype, and then you just go from like peak super hype to just the bottom. Because usually you'll start in the middle. If he misses it, you'll go down. If he makes it, you're up. But then you're up. You think he makes it, you go all the way down. So I just couldn't imagine the absolute pain.
It was brutal, but they did win that game in overtime, I believe. So it worked out fine for him.
Just would have been a little cooler.
Yeah, just a little bit. Well, we're north of 10 minutes to go here in the second half. Notch.
Yeah, Raiders still staying aggressive. It looks like they're bringing some help side defense outside the perimeter. You don't see that a ton unless it's in a zone. It looks like they're playing woman to woman, but really getting in those passing lanes. And again, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Hastings Public House, where memories made local, for sponsoring this event and all the good work they do and helping us make this possible.
Very much appreciate that. Well, there's Tartan driving in near that baseline. They're going to get a travel called there on 22.
Yeah, both teams with a lot of unforced turnovers. There hasn't been a lot of shots that have gotten up in the past few minutes. The Raiders got up 14. We saw Murray's baseline jumper, but since then, neither team has really scored. And that goes in the Raiders' favor. They would rather have nobody score than a closer one, like blow by blow, as long as they keep playing D.
McVicker puts up the 3, the offensive rebound from Strain. Off to Swanson, down low to Strain, blocked.
She gets the foul called. Great cut down low by Strain. Looked like she went from the opposite baseline and then flashed, beat her woman. Got the pass down low from the arc and then puts it up. Yeah, you'll see it here. Flashes over to the post, and then that's the look you want too. It looks like just got barely blocked, but yeah, great timing on the pass, great timing on the finish, but drew the foul, looking to get 2 points.
Absolute textbook free throw right there.
Another thing to look at is the disparities in foul compared to last half. Tartan already has 6, putting the Raiders in the bonus, and Hastings only has 5. Or they have 5, which is more than they had last half. And so Tartan's 2 away from the bonus. There's still 10 minutes left in this ball game.
And that is a new addition to our scoreboard, our snazzy scoreboard. So,
oh yeah,
If you're tuning in on YouTube or Facebook, let us know what you think of the fouls at the bottom of the screen, because obviously we do this for the viewers. So if they appreciate the fouls there, or if they think it's too cluttered, or anywhere in between, we'd like to know your thoughts.
It'd be hard to get mad at. It helps you a lot in the game, kind of dictate whether this team's going to be more aggressive, whether they're in bonus or not, as
That's what I'm saying.
Vicar down low, but it's always nice, new shiny things.
Always improving here at HCTV Sports. And wasn't a ton of room there for Hernandez to squeeze between two defenders.
Looks like the foul was on the ground, though, and they're not in bonus yet, so it looks like they will take it out. But yeah, now both teams in bonus. That could be a major factor going the rest of the game. Raiders playing, if they keep playing their aggressive defense and Tartan keeps drawing the fouls and put them at the line, depends how well they shoot.
Short inbound off to Hernandez. Near the wing. Misses that one. Jackson takes the rebound, swings it up court. A long pass. Three-point shot.
Great board by Strain. Didn't quite get the finish.
Ball kept inbounds ever so slightly, given to Swanson, and the shot's going to be waved off.
First. Looks like Fred Hansen got a full timeout in right before the shot, kind of settling the Raiders down a little bit. I noticed they're up 15, and last time there was a big break in play, they made that about 10-point run right at to come out of the half. So looking maybe to slow them down a little bit, because if they can score here and make it 17 or 8-point game, that's a lot different than 15. Maybe Tartan gets a steal, cuts it to 13.
So what do you? We'll talk about the next broadcast here. It's going to be boys hockey, St. Louis Park on the 11th. So be sure to tune into that one.
Yeah, at the Hastings Civic Arena at 7:30. And hockey games are always fun. That's one thing about being a Minnesotan. I live in Missouri. I go to the University of Missouri. Not a lot of high school hockey just around there. And here it's just such a big deal. And there's so much energy around it, so much community around it. And it's just a different experience than it is anywhere else in the nation, frankly, state of hockey.
Yeah. Yeah, and that arena too. It's homely. I like the wood. There's a lot of wood in there.
A lot of comfortable wood. It's like an old person's home.
Yeah,
you got the comfortable wood. Just makes you feel there. Makes you feel nice and secure and safe.
You know, you got all these new ice arenas. You know, Park spent a few $1 million on an ice arena, and it's very nice. But, you know, it's just that new generic arena feel. You know, that feels like the state hockey version of like Wrigley or something. It's old, but it's got charm.
Yeah, it's just where your parents come in, like, oh yeah, I sat on this bench when I was in high school, and you either say ew or awesome, like you get that community feel. So that's kind of the spirit around the arena, is just the tradition.
Runner missed there. Raiders still with a 15-point lead, and that pass right over the top of Strain.
Which the Raiders still, despite the 15-point lead, they're not slowing it down at all. They're going to what they did at the start of the half. They're playing fast, looking for fast break points, and then getting in on defense. Now it's down to a light full court press, but still McVickers way out guarding her.
I mean, she is getting her steps in here tonight.
Oh yeah, great defense there, cutting off every jab, and she's even popping in for double teams. It's like she never gets tired.
No, yeah, that is crazy cardio. 3-point miss,
and she gets the rebound herself too. She's crashing boards, playing tight defense and offense. As a little turnover there. Not quite happy about that one, because probably she worked so hard on that other possession. But yeah, the Raiders looking to keep getting stops and extend, because they don't care whether they score again or not. It's more whether Tartan doesn't score 15. So as long as they can extend this game and nobody scores, I'm sure they're going to the locker room happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. The philosophy certainly changes when you're up by this amount of points. Olivia Murray sends it off for Woodson Thigpen, back to Vienna Murray. Murray trying to break the ankles there, sends it off to the near side, right in front of that bench, now almost dead center.
It's interesting how slow Tartan's kind of taking it. Like, they're having dribbles, swinging around, slowing the game down, and that's, at this point, you want to push up like Hastings is doing. Like off that break right there and score fast.
Yeah, it seems as we'll get a foul committed here by Tartan. As I don't know if you caught the look on Mia Hernandez's face after that turnover, but it was a look of, well, hard to exactly say what it was a look of, but it seems like the tempo should be switched for both teams.
Exactly. I mean, the Raiders are just riding it while it's hot, and Tartan, who I guess is expecting the Raiders to slow it down, maybe they're a little more tired from how much the Raiders are running earlier. They're expecting them to slow down, but they're not, and then I think the Raiders, too, are expecting Tartan to go faster, and they're not, and that's where all of these, I guess, scoring drops are coming from.
And we've seen a lot of fast break. We haven't seen a lot of rebounding from Hastings in the last couple of minutes because they really haven't had to. But I was going to ask you what adjustment maybe you think they need to make, because they were getting so many of these offensive rebounds and they were pumping up a shot and missing and getting another rebound and missing and pumping up another shot. So they're getting all these offensive rebounds, but it seems like maybe they're a little too panicky on these shots. They're missing a lot of shots point blank.
Right, and a lot of that is there are teams who play, when you get a lead like this, there are two types of teams. One team will play to win, run and gun, play the exact kind of offense that they're doing, which the Raiders are doing, seem to be doing right now, and there's teams that play not to lose, where you play more conservative and you look for those shots, but you're a lot more conservative and you don't want to miss it because you don't want them to come back, and you're just not playing the same type of defense. Everything's a lot more hesitant, and that's kind of what we were seeing down low for here as opposed to the start of the first half. But now it looks like they're back to swinging it down low and getting those shots inside as Haley Strain's going to the line, and they're looking to build off that lead.
Well, she'll miss the first, but they are in the bonus.
And that kind of says, too, about how it was a game of runs in the first half, how Raiders would get up about 7 and Tartan would come back. But that hasn't happened. The Raiders have been on about 2 runs, both their ways, and Tartan's been trying to keep up, but they have not been able to spark a run on their own.
And you gotta like the resiliency too of Hastings, playing through that first half. Probably, if they cut down on their mistakes, which they ended up doing in the second half, they probably should have been up by 6, 7, 8 points at halftime. But due to some of the mistakes that they've kind of made all season, it was closer than it should have been, and just sticking through that, not getting frustrated, and now kind of reaping the benefits of that those adjustments from the first half and the second half.
And I'm guessing a lot of that had to do with isolating Hernandez and shutting her down on defense, because she went, it looks like it was just all her in the first half, scoring any way she wanted to, on threes, on drives, even assisting, but it seems like she's almost been taken out of the game defensively. And a lot of that speaks a lot to Mick Vickers' defense and how well she's been able to stick with her, and the Raiders themselves getting in passing lanes and finding that pressure. It's been working.
I mean, it's crazy because if they make that adjustment on Hernandez from minute number 1, they might have Tartan with only 10 points at this point in the game. I mean, I can see how they held Apple Valley to 10 points.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. This seems like something flipped at halftime. Maybe they got some energy back, or maybe Trenton Hansen rowdied them up in the locker room, telling them to get out. But everything's working for the Raiders, it seems like, now that they were jumping in these passing lanes on D.
3-point shot, 3-point make for Emma Baker.
Yeah, even the three-pointers, too, the good defense translate into good offense. And that's true with the momentum piece. You just feel a lot better letting that go out of your hands and watching it go through the hoop.
3-point response right there, but it was not answered by the hoop. Pass down low, and a nice little assist, quick shot, 2 points there for Wagner.
Yeah, and there's one of their 2 timeouts left, and I mean, it's 21 points or 22 points now, and getting those quick buckets. First the 3 from Emma Baker right here, gets set up, buries it, and then obviously the layup that we just saw, making it 22 points, and a lead like this with 6 minutes left, Tartan's really going to need to push it up, and they're going to need to try everything they can to put the ball in the hoop.
Is it just me, or are they playing this music about 7 times louder than they normally do during the breaks?
Yeah, no, seems a little route. Seems like they want us to kind of get a copyright infringement kind of deal.
Oh, perfect.
But I mean, everyone's excited. They're raising their voice whenever they get a shot. Now I guess DJ turning up the volume, letting them know that Raiders at home, being able to hold their ground, looking for their first conference win.
It's like the Vikings pumping in artificial sound in the dome. I mean, you gotta set the environment.
Gotta love it, yeah. Except this roof probably isn't going to come down from a lot of snow. That's one thing that we can be assured of.
Well, they only had 2 timeouts heading into that one, so you got to use them. You don't want to go to the PJ Flex school of timeouts and take timeouts home with you, because you can't use them in the next game. So
Can't, no, they do not carry over.
bounce pass inbound to Vu, who swings it up down the court.
See, they're backing it up again. It looks like they're still running their normal offense. Great play inside there by Nosh to go get the jump ball. Now it's Hastings' ball. It's been all Hastings this half, and they're still riding it like it's a 0-0 game.
And I love the response from Notch, just looking at the ref, unsure if that was going to be a foul or if it was going to be a tie-up.
Fingers crossed that it went her way, and was able to.
Just under 5.5 to go here in regulation. I don't think, could be famous last words, but I don't think we'll be heading to overtime in this one. If we do, you can freezing cold take me, but
the little curse, maybe. As Tartan does get the ball up. But yeah, 22 points in 5 minutes when you have 29 points the whole game. What did they have at halftime again?
22?
22, that sounds right. So about 7 points this half. They would need over 3 times what they had in the first half. But a lot of that credit to the Raider defense, just being able to run and gun and get in those passing lanes, apply that pressure. And it's not like they're stopping either. They're not letting Tartan get what they want despite the 22-point lead.
And, you know, they have committed 8 fouls here in the second half, but still a clean game. But they've also played more physical defense as well, without playing, Detroit Pistons 1980s basketball.
Bad boys.
Because in the first half, especially with Hernandez, I mean, she was just running right past defenders.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, splitting the difference, going past 3 and you can't allow that to happen. I mean,
I think a lot of that too is realizing that we kind of saw from the start the girls seem a little bit bigger than them, and it seemed like they were playing like they were smaller. But now you kind of realize, like, oh, hey, I can apply some pressure here, and it's not like she's going to run right through me. Like Hernandez there in the first half, she would have driven right through her, but she was able to stand her ground. Sophia Swanson able to get the stop there, but Raiders can't turn it into offense. But yeah, great way to stay in and not let her drive to the hoop like she was before.
No, that's such a good point, too. And you just think about it as percentages. I mean, what is the percentage chance you make a layup versus the percentage chance you make a spinning turnaround fadeaway 12-footer? I mean, it's quite the difference.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you do need to risk getting those fouls. I think that's why the Raiders do have 8 fouls, because they're applying so much more pressure this half, and they're able to kind of reach. And sometimes they do take a little risk jumping in those passing lanes, but we've seen jump balls drawn. We've seen deflections that turn into turnovers. But there are those sporadic fouls, and that's just kind of what you risk playing that aggressive style of D, and it's paying off for them this half.
Yeah, and I haven't even been keeping track of how many fouls each player has, because none of these players are in foul trouble either. I mean, you end the game with 2 fouls here, 2 fouls there. I mean, it's kind of inconsequential at the end of the day. I mean, obviously fouls are a bad thing, but it's almost like you kind of want to have like 7 or 8 fouls a half, because you want to. That just comes with the territory of playing defense. I mean, you don't go swimming without getting wet.
Exactly, and I'm sure Coach Hansen made a point of that in the locker room, saying we had about 4 or 5 fouls to give. So like before they were even in the bonus, which means like we could have played this much more aggressive, but we didn't. And we got to jump and get those passes in the second half. As 3's buried by Tartan. 16-point game with 4 minutes left. It's a lot more attainable than it did earlier.
Could this be the start of the comeback for the Titans? We'll have to find out.
is Coach Hansen rallying the girls, kind of saying just relax. They're on a little bit of a run, but we're going to play like we did, like I said earlier, playing to win rather than not to lose. And just reassuring them, don't get worried, play as you've been playing. They might get hot, but rely on your defense, rely on what you've been doing before, and get those open looks and convert on those open looks.
And it's going to be experience versus inexperience, because even though this is a pretty young Raiders team, this is a very, very young Tartan team, especially the players who are getting it done for Tartan, namely Mia Hernandez.
Yeah. Boo, who just knocked down the triple, is only a freshman. So we'll keep seeing these names pop out in conference play for a few years to come. Yeah, which Hernandez is an 8th grader, which I did not realize, and we've been talking about her all game, the fact that she had many of their points in the first half, but she still has 4 years to go after this one. Just says a lot about her talent.
And a 2-point shot there for Strand lands. You know, and that's the interesting part about basketball and soccer and some sports at high school, but not necessarily football, is you don't see 8th graders playing on the varsity football team, but you know, with sometimes the best player on the court in a basketball game filled with 12th graders is an 8th grader.
And that just speaks to how skillful they are, because as you develop through high school, you notice those physical differences. But if you're able to play up with them despite maybe being a little under with your physical attributes, that just shows how talented you are and how skillful you are.
Vienna Murray brings it back to 15. A couple of quick passes down low. Airballed that shot right over the top. Did Strain.
But yeah, with that shot, it's a 15-point game. So Tartan is on the road. Raiders, I think their biggest lead was 22, which they held for quite a little bit. But now Tartan's getting going, knocking down those 3-pointers. And they're back at the line, too.
And now in the double bonus.
Yeah, one thing, too, that we mentioned, they only have 1 timeout left, which could be interesting down the stretch if they want to cut. If the Raiders go a little run and they want to cut it, or they just want to slow their players down, get them some water, and have them keep continuing after.
And I think if you're Trent Hansen and you have 3 timeouts or 3 minutes to go, you know, maybe you have a really quick trigger on timeouts and not allowing runs. I mean, I'm talking about even if it's a 4-0 run, you just call a timeout right away and just try to nip that in the bud, because you have the resources at this point in the game. There's no need to let them get 5, 6, 7-point run.
Exactly. Yeah. Anything to stop the kind of momentum that they're gathering, because when you have those timeouts, not only that, it's a big break, and there's that fast break. Haley Strand again, they found her down low, not quite able to finish.
And that's the thing about playing with that type of tempo in this situation, is it works awesome if you're getting points, but if you don't get these points and you have a 4-second possession, you're just letting Tartan get back in the game.
Yep, because at this point, all Tartan wants is more and more possessions after possessions. The Raiders, who they haven't had to for the rest of the game, might have to look to slow it down on offense.
Yeah, certainly has not been their style here tonight, but got to pull out this dub somehow.
Right, and then as another longer possession by Tartan, they've gotten able to get out of them with 3s before, as Hernandez doesn't finish. But with 2:30 on the clock, that thing's running the whole possession. Like you would think that the Raiders would slow it down a little bit.
So McVicker pulls it
looks
back.
Like they are. And that's another thing without the shot clock. She could have held it there as long as she wanted to. She was far enough away from Hernandez, who needed to guard her for Tartan, but wasn't necessarily applying the pressure.
Turnover. Full court press, well, at least from McVicker on Hernandez, just not allowing any space to drive.
Yeah, she's continues to do a great job, despite the fact that they might not full court press. There's another bucket by the Titans, got it to 12.
And that underhanded layup barely had enough clearance, but it just sinks right in. We'll see how much they want to try to kill time here. Travel.
So UNC Wagner accidentally lifted her pivot foot in there. So now Tartan applying similar pressure to what we saw at the end of the first half that the Raiders were doing. Looks like they're kind of giving them a taste of their own medicine.
They pulled out that Uno reverse card right here.
Yeah, it seems to be working so far. It's still 12 points in 2 minutes is no easy feat.
You just gotta hope that they take their time on their offensive possessions. I mean, I've heard horror stories from Town Square of final possessions taking 8 or 9 minutes. Not very fun for us to call.
Yeah.
Kind of goes against the spirit of the game, but
but I mean, there's ethics, and then there's winning, and then some coaches value one a lot more than the other. It all depends. All depends where you are, what your play style is.
Boy, is that the truth.
There, and once again, Tartan, that possession, 20, 25 seconds to go on. Yes, they're going to get the foul. They're going to get free throws. No matter how this turns out, they'll be down double digits coming out of these free throws with 1 minute and 18 seconds. Just might not be enough time if they continue to go as slow as they have been with their possessions.
Points are obviously important because if you're Tartan, you're going to need points to win this. But you could argue time is a little more important at this point, at this advanced stage of the game.
Right. Looks like another timeout was called. I'm assuming by the Raiders. I didn't see it. But yeah, just getting everybody able to rest right now, and like Hastings isn't doing a bad job on defense either. Like they're not letting anything for free. Tartan's, credit to them, they've not knocked down a lot of threes and have been able to put the pressure on Hastings. But even during their run, they still haven't been able to finish probably as much as they'd like to, and they're getting a lot at the free throw line. And when you can't necessarily put them in the way you want to, you want to get to that free throw line, get those shots wide open, and then kind of get the shooting going.
And Tartan, credit to them, they've kind of figured out on this run. We got our camera operators there. There's Zach. Doing a great job tonight.
A little tongue out, a little happier that the Raiders are the ones that are up 12. Could have been a little sad camera over there. Glad that it's not.
But back to my point, Tartan has really figured out in the last handful of minutes how to score points without Hernandez.
Right. And I mean, this whole half it has been kind of okay. They're locking down who seemingly has been our best player this whole game. What are we supposed to do? And it took them a while. That's when the Raiders went on that huge run to put them up, I think, 14 right away, and then they got it up to 22. And now they're just kind of realizing, wait, if we get it to this person, this works, or we find this open cutter, but it might be a little bit too late.
You just have to hope that the Raiders' composure is there, because you don't want things snowballing out of control.
Right. And
right now you're still in a good spot, but you don't want to panic and snowball and like that.
Yeah, but there's the steal. Oh, got the foul. Down low, so now she'll shoot too. And another thing with that now, it's the Tartans' worst enemy is they're not playing against the Raiders, they're playing against the clock. So if they continue to play as well as they are on defense, keep getting these stops and scoring, they're competing against that 1 minute and 13 seconds left that's on the clock to see if they have enough time to complete this.
Well, that's going to help the Raiders out ever so slightly.
And also just making free throws too. If they went 2 for 2 last time and then made both of these, like that's 7-point game right there. But yeah, again, one goes off, Raiders ball again.
I'll just never understand why free throw shooting, as we get a turnover, nearly pushed out of bounds by Notch. I'll never understand why free throw shooting is not always at 80%, because it's the one thing you can always work on by yourself for as much time as you want.
You would think that, but as somebody who played and went through high school, it's an entirely different thing just because of adrenaline. So, like, you could shoot a million free throws just by yourself in the park, but as soon as that adrenaline kicks in, you're going to chuck it off the backboard if you chuck it exactly how you would have before. It's a really, really crazy thing, but I totally understand. Because, like, you'll have NBA players that shoot by themselves, probably make 99 out of 100, but as soon as you get the game, the crowd's roaring, situationally, it's entirely different.
That is pretty true. I remember seeing Bismack Biyombo hit like 10 three-pointers in a row in pregame.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, everybody in the NBA can shoot when nothing's going on.
Yeah, I mean, especially, too, with those shooters who don't shoot quite well in games. Once you finally get that open look, you finally get the green light, all of that sets in at once. Oh, there's steal.
Oh, turnover, Notch, 2 points.
Yeah, Notch for the Raiders. Give it to 12 with 20 seconds left.
2-second possession, 2 points on the board for Hastings. And that's pretty much going to be all she wrote here. We'll see if we can get a 2-point response from Hernandez, and we do. Brings us back to within 10, but looks like that is probably going to do it here. We get a meaningless foul there with under a second. Now they just got to figure out what's your best 10-point play.
Yeah, I'm looking for. Well, I mean, we're gonna have to chuck it full court, a little alley-oop, get fouled, and then I guess a lot of throwing it off the rim and tapping it in. But then again, then physics comes into play, and you're like, not sure. But I mean, this is just adding for, I guess, you're able to practice these adrenaline free throws for the Raiders, because you know that doesn't necessarily mean as much as it would, but you still. Oh, hey. And then the buzzer sounds, and now the Raiders are going to come out victorious, winning by 11, which a game that looked like they were kind of letting up at the end. The clock helped them. So.
Yeah, the Raiders end up taking this one 56-45, getting the win here on Parents' Night.
Yep, and they now move into the conference 1-0, and now they'll take on North St. Paul in their next game, who's also 1-0 in the conference. So whoever wins that game will be at the head of the Metro East for women's.
And that's the perfect time for that game to be on the schedule. The way they've played these last 2 games, I mean, you couldn't have a hotter result in these last 2 games.
Oh yeah, bringing up momentum, looking to continue that. Hoping for more of a start of the second half kind of Raiders team rather than the first half or like end of the second half Raiders team. But that's what you get when you have these young players. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get. So hoping to ride this hot streak.
I mean, we've seen it. The pieces, as Jim Irsay would say, the pieces are in place here for this Hastings team. So we'll see how they finish the season. Well, with that, we'll wrap it up here. A special thanks to Hunter Pinky, Owen Ely, Colby Zach Biermeyer, and Will Saline. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. The Raiders win 56-45 against the Tartan Titans here on HCTV Sports.